Hello everyone. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss the concept of distributed hash table. A peer discovery is an essential part of the BitTorrent protocol. When a new client wants to join the network, it has to have some information about the tracker. The tracker gives the IP address of the participating nodes in the peer-to-peer network, or the client should have the knowledge of at least one member in the peer-to-peer network. Distributed hash table basically used to replace the concept of tracker. This distributed hash table stores some information, that is the hash value, hash key and the hash value. The hash value can be the IP address of the node which has the file to be distributed. So basically a distributed hash table is a distributed system that provides a lookup service similar to a hash table, key value pairs which are stored in the DHT, and any participating node can effectively retrieve the value associated with a given key. The main advantage of a DHT is that nodes can be added or removed with minimum work around redistributing keys. Keys are unique identifiers which map to particular values, which in turn can be anything from addresses to documents to arbitrary data. Responsibility for maintaining the mapping from keys to values is distributed among the nodes in such a way that a change in the set of participants cause a minimal amount of disruption. This means the DHT is not stored in one particular, or the hash table is not stored under one particular system. It is distributed over the systems in the network. This allows a DHT to scale to extremely large number of nodes and to handle continual node arrivals, departures and failures. Let us take a simple database which has the key value pairs. So the key can be the human name and value can be the social security number. Here the key is some name and value is the social security number. So the key can be a movie title and value can be the IP address of a system which has the movie file. Instead of having the new string as the key, it is better to have the numerical representation of key. So this numerical representation can be obtained by using the hash function. So hash of the original key may be a string value. So you get a numeric key value. Now for John Washington, the hash value can be a numerical value. This will be stored as a key in the hash table, and the corresponding value, in this case it is the social security number. It can be the IP address of a system as well, or it can be the document. Distributed hash table basically stores the key value pairs. These key value pairs are distributed over millions of peers. Okay, these pairs are evenly distributed over the peers. Any peer can query the database with the key. Then the database returns the value for the key. To resolve this query, a small number of messages exchanged among the peers, and each peer knows only about a small number of other peers, and this particular distributed hash table is robust to peers coming and going, that is for the churn peers. So understand the DHT concept. Assume these are the nodes in the peer-to-peer network. and the node with the ID 200 wants to publish a particular file. First, it needs to generate the hash key value for the hash key for the file. Assume the hash key for the file is 501 and the value is the ID of the node. And now the question is where to store this hash key value pair. So the rule is the node whose ID is equal or close to the key is going to store this hash key value. So among the 4 nodes, it is the 505 whose ID is closest to this key value. So the hash key value pair will be stored in this particular node. Suppose if a new node wants to download this file, it will inquire one of the node in the peer-to-peer network with the key value. So it has to know the key value for the file, that is the 501, but it can send a query message to one of the nodes in the peer-to-peer network. Then it eventually reaches to this node because the key which it is looking for is closest to the ID of the node. So in this case it is 505. So the requesting node will be able to retrieve the value for the key. Once it retrieves the value for the key, it will be able to contact the node and it can download the file. This is the procedure of storing the hash key value as well as retrieving the value for a given hash key. Now let us see the rule in detail. So assign key value pair to the peer that has the closest ID, means where exactly you have to store the key value pair. Next, what do you mean by the closest? So closest is the immediate successor of the key. Suppose this is the ID space and these are the 8 peers in the network in the peer-to-peer file sharing, and if the key is 51 for a particular file, then it will be assigned to 60. If key is 60 also, it is going to be assigned to 60. If the key is 61, then it will be assigned to the next immediate successor. After 60, it is 1. What do you mean by circular DHT? Each peer will be aware of only immediate successor and predecessor. Basically, it is going to be an overlay network, a network which is built on top of another network. So now say for example, if we consider the peer 1, it will know its successor as well as its predecessor. 12 for the successor is 13 and predecessor is 1. Now how the query will be resolved? Suppose a node or the peer 12 receives a request to know what is the value associated with the key 13. As we know, the peer 12 will not be storing the key value pair for the key 53 because it is not equal as well as it is not closest. So it sends a query to its successor, that is 13. So 13 will send the query to its next successor. It goes on. So finally it goes to the node 60 whose value is closest to the key. So then it will retrieve the value for the key 53 and it will send the value 53 to the requesting node. So if you see the complexity of n messages to resolve a query when there are n peers. Now consider a circular DHT with shortcut. So along with the predecessor and successor, DHT peer will also have the IP address of the shortcut. So you can see the shortcuts, they are shown with the help of the directed line. Now for the node 12, the predecessor will be 1 and the successor will be 13 and the shortcuts will be 12. Okay, so all this data is maintained over here. Now, what is the value for the key 53? So, if you see the key 53, it is greater than its 12's immediate successor. So, the query will be sent to the shortcuts, that is 32. 32. So, immediate successor is 40. So, it also sends to its shortcut, that is 48. Now, 48 whose immediate successor is 60. So 60 ID and the key is 53, they are closest. So the node 60, which has the key value for 53, it will send the value to the node 12. Now if you see, only 3 query messages are sent. Okay, so from the 6 messages to 3 messages. So it is possible to design shortcuts with the neighbors, log n neighbors as well as log n messages in the query. Now how to handle the peer churn? So as you all know, in the peer-to-peer network, peers may join the network as well as they may leave the network at any time. So basically each peer knows the address of its 2 successor. This is mainly to handle the peer churns. So if you consider the node 3, it will have the address of the node 4 as well as the node 5. So each peer periodically pings its 2 successor to check the aliveness. Suppose if immediate successor leaves, then the next successor will be chosen as the new immediate successor. Suppose the peer 5, it leaves abruptly. Then the peer 4 detects the peer 5's departure and makes 8 as its immediate successor. 4 then asks what is the immediate successor of 8, that is 10. Now this 10 will be made as the second successor for the peer 4. That's how the peer churn is handled.